What's going on, guys? In this one, I'm going to show you how to properly onboard a new client. Doesn't matter what industry, what niche you're in. I'm going to show you how to correctly onboard someone once they've just made like a huge high ticket purchase, right? Because the last thing you want is people to start, asking for refunds and then disputes coming up and stuff like that, right? So let's get all of your clients off on the right foot, not the wrong foot, and let's just dive into it. So first things first is how to properly onboard clients. Now, first, you're going to have your sale, right? So your pricing structures. And I'm going to have a whole separate video on pricing structures and how you guys can essentially make the right pricing structure for your business and be able to scale it, right? Because there's low ticket, right? Typically, you're just testing and learning something. And then you have your mid-range, high ticket, plus a retainer, which is typically like you have a proven offer, proven system. And from there is also what we call the high ticket and rev share. Now, this is typically only done once you've mastered optimize, and that's essentially what I do. I do high ticket and rev share. Okay, so let's start. Once you close your deal, essentially the first 5 to 7 days are the most important days. You need to make sure that your client feels like they just won the lottery, like they won everything and they just got the best thing on earth, right? They make sure that their $10,000 or $5,000 has just gone to something that's actually going to move the needle, right? It's going to help them. Because essentially in these first 5 to 7 days, it's either make or break. The client's going to get off on the right foot and they're going to like you, or the client's going to get off on the wrong foot and they're not going to like you. And it's going to be a pain in the ass for the next, however long the term is, or they're just going to ask for a refund immediately. Okay. So how do the clients feel? Well, typically they're feeling nervous, right? Impressionable and apprehensive. So these guys they're ready to, they're like a bomb ready to explode. So you need to make sure in these first 5 to 7 days, like I'm mentioning, you follow these steps and you do the exact ways that I onboard clients. You need to do it as well. Okay. So after the 5 to 7 days of working together, your clients, there's 3 things that they should feel. One, they should feel I can see this. They can see the path to success. The reason I bought the service program in the first place, right? So, like I mentioned, they need to make sure that they feels like they won the lottery and that they bought something that's actually going to get them to success. Number 2 is I really like who I'm working with on the emotional side. Their perspective on us as the company owner or the sales rep, the team, whatever it may be. Perspective on us, the team, and the company in the process. Okay. And number 3. They have full confidence in the fact that this is the team that will get them exactly where they want to go. And in fact, this is the team that will get them exactly where they need to go. Okay. So essentially here, these are the first main key 3 things. You need to make sure that your client is feeling all of these in order to see success. Okay. Now, first, there's 2 things here. You have a sales side and you have your fulfillment side. Both need to work in tandem. You can't just have the sales side close someone and then the fulfillment side has no idea what's going on. Okay. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how each side, each part of the team, whether it's sales or it's fulfillment, knows exactly what's going on and makes it super seamless. That way the client's like, holy, how does this guy already, I've never met this guy. How does he know everything about me? Right. So step 1. Okay. So step 1, essentially what it is set expectations. So every single way or every single step along the way, we need to remind the client of the expectations or we'll have ongoing issues. Okay. So you need to remind them of the expectations. Throughout the sales call, it starts with their sales rep. Throughout the sales call, throughout the onboarding, everything needs to be consistently going. On the onboarding call, you're setting expectations, always setting expectations, and you continuously set expectations even after you've signed the client and you guys are working together. Right. So number 1 here is the collect the payment. Okay, so sales rep collects the payment, signs a contract, and from there, what happens is they then move on. And this is on the sales rep. The sales rep has to make sure that the client is getting excited and that the client feels like this is exactly where they where they need to be, right? So get client excited and assure they made the right decision. They just spent $5,000, $10,000, whatever your program costs, your system, whatever it may be. They just spent a lot of money. You need to make them feel like they just made the best decision that they could possibly make for their business and for themselves, right? So something that you could say to them is, in the meantime, while they're getting like the contract signed and they're maybe doing the purchase payment, is something like this. So awesome. While you're doing that, while you're processing the funding, while you're signing that agreement there, let me get your Slack channel set up so that we can hit the ground running ASAP, right? So whether it's Discord, Slack, whatever you use, like iMessage, right? Say I'm going to get you set up in the iMessage group with the team, right? So just make sure that in the meantime, you're kind of just, it's like in a sense, you're distracting them. You're letting them know like, this is how fast we move, right? So what you're going to do is add them to their channel. Okay. And the most important part is welcoming every single person. And as sales reps, you're supposed to introduce everyone to each other. Okay. So the sales rep is going to go into their channel, say, hey, so and so, it's good to have you here. Look forward. If you need anything, here's who you can ask for this. Here's who you can ask for this. I just want to again quickly introduce you to so and so. And again, you're just kind of introducing everyone together. Then, once the sales rep has welcomed the client and introduced everyone, what the team is then going to do is every single person individually is going to introduce themselves. Say, hey, man, nice to have you on board. If you need anything related to this, this, and this, I'm the person to go do. I'll make sure that you're seeing success and you have all the help needed to see success, right? So something like that. Make sure that the sales rep is welcoming the client. From there, the sales rep is introducing everyone to each other, letting the client know who to contact and so forth. And then as well, the individual team members are going to introduce themselves. Okay. So that is step number one of what to do. And again, this is for the sales side. That's what the sales rep is doing. Step number two is the sales rep is now going to walk the client through the entire onboarding. Okay. So you should typically have, and we have all this in mentorship, is how again, this is exactly what I do. What I'm showing you is what I do. So we walk through the entire onboarding funnel with the client. The reason for this is because we don't want them to have any sort of confusion. We want them to know what to do, and they're able to get off the call and go do it immediately. Okay. So explain the immediate next steps, which is they need to complete the onboarding funnel while you're still on the call. Okay. You're not getting off the call and telling them to do it. You're still on the call. Walk them through the onboarding funnel step by step and explain each step. This is why we require each step to be complete, and you explain that, right? This step here, step number one, is for this. Step number two is for this. The importance of you doing this and this, right? So on. And number one here, this is my onboarding funnel. Is okay. So right away it says, welcome to Bull Ass Consulting. Stop. Do not leave this page. Watch this video before continuing. So I get them to watch a video. It can be about 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever you want it to be. In this video, essentially all I'm doing is just congratulating them that they made a good decision and that we are going to be the best fit for them. I'm setting expectations. I'm telling them how they see success. I'm telling them how people don't see success with us. I'm telling them absolutely everything. That way, when they come in here, I'm immediately correctly setting the expectation. Okay. Once they watch that, I then tell them, once you've completed this video, do not move on until you have. Once you have, click here for the next step. It then shoots them over to this video. Okay. Onboarding step number two. On my onboarding step number two, I'm kind of going over the form below. So again, onboarding step number two, stop, do not leave this page. And I explain in a video, again, it's like 4 minutes or so, 5 minutes. I'm explaining everything in this onboarding form that I need them to fill out and the reason I need them to fill it out as well. If there's questions where it needs an answer, it needs like a long answer, the better the description, the better the better results we'll get them. I'm explaining that, like, hey, in this question here, I need you to fill this out with as much detail as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. But if you want us to get you the best results, I need that fully filled out to the best of your ability. Okay. And again, this is all mandatory before they even go ahead and book their call, right? And I tell them that you need to complete this before you go ahead and book your onboarding call. We do not start up your marketing. We don't do anything until you actually got your onboarding call and you're fully onboarded. Okay. So this is up to you. And this is why I'm showing you this so that it's speed. I want you guys, again, as you're talking to the client, I want you to finish this as quickly as possible. That way that we can get you up and onboarded and get your marketing going, right? And then from here, once they've completed the funnel, they've done the video, they've completed the forms, whatever you guys have, you need them to do, make sure they complete it, whether it's invite you to Facebook, whatever it may be, right? I get them to then book their onboarding call. So onboarding step number 3 is book your one-on-one. Again, watch this video before continuing. I explain what they need to do. And essentially, every single step along the way, I explain them and congratulate. Hey, man, awesome. You filled out the form. Now let's get you booked in for your onboarding call. On this call, exactly what we're talking about is this, this, and this. Okay. Do not book your onboarding call if you haven't completed the form yet. If you have any questions about the form, feel free to reach out. Now, book your onboarding call. I tell them make sure you leave a certain amount of time, like an hour, 2 hours, however long your onboarding typically is. I tell them to leave some time, even extra. That way, I know the expectations, and no one's ever leaving the call because, oh, I got a job coming up. Well, I told you to book off a certain amount of time, right? As well, you can also let them book after completion of the onboarding funnel, right? So that's here. Or I've seen other people. I typically recommend you do this funnel versus what I've seen happen is people will book the onboarding call and then they say, hey, this has to be complete before then. But I don't like to go back and like, hey, you didn't complete it. You can't have the onboarding call, right? It just kind of creates some friction between you and the call. Your sales rep needs to, hey man, since we got you all onboarded, I just want to make sure, or sorry, not onboarded. Since I explained everything to you, that's about all I have for you today. Is there any last questions or concerns that you have beforehand, before I end this call, right? And the sales rep might typically get, oh, I have a question about this. I have, kind of concerned with this, right? This is where it'll come out, and your sales rep is going to be able to answer that and make sure you guys, again, start off on a good foot. Now, from there, essentially, what's going to happen is, so already we've onboarded the client, or not onboarded, but we sent them the onboarding funnels. They understand what's going on. We've welcomed them to the channels, right? That's the first step. Now, essentially, what you're going to do is the sales reps going to now communicate with the team. Okay, so you should have a channel inside your Discord or your Slack, whatever it may be. That's called new client channel. Okay, and this channel is going to be every time someone is signed, the sales rep comes in here. He mentions the client name. Okay, he mentions their company name, as well location. Again, this is typically for like service, like if you're doing local service ads for people. So, for example, this was at the time of this video and the screenshot here. This was for a HVAC client. So new client, his name was Keith, company name was whatever, and then the location, right? And then here, essentially, every time the sales rep closes someone, what he's then doing is he's creating a very short video, or not video, an audio message of exactly the importance of this client, what's important about why they chose us, what their struggles are, and what they're looking for, right? That way, the entire team, even the sales rep, can go back if, let's say, for whatever reason, there's a refund that's being asked for, or there's just a problem in general. Everything is tracked and recorded, right? If you watch my other videos, you guys know that tracking things and recording things is very, very important. So here, in a sense, what we're doing is making sure that the entire audio message is overlaying exactly what went down, why they chose us, what their struggles were, and what they're looking for. Okay. Again, share all the details. So the voice note needs to cover who the client is, their offer, their starting point, current revenue, their goals, their biggest struggles, past failures, etc. That way that the entire team knows what's going on. And it's in this format. So it's format, new channel. Okay. New client, not new channel. From there, it's their name, right? Their email, and then a doc. When we say doc, typically it could be like their Google Drive doc, if you guys have one. Like there's some sort of thing that's like, okay, here's what's related to this client, right? And number 5, a voice note on the client. Okay, so that is more or less the sales portion. Now, once we've gotten off the call, we've gotten them, the team pretty much is brought up to speed with what's going on here. What's then going to happen is the sales, again, nothing is ever going to work if the sales team and the fulfillment team aren't talking to one another. So you have to have strong communication. So once we go over to fulfillment, this is the fulfillment side of things now. Step number one is listening to the audio message, right? So like the sales rep just sent over in the new client channel, the fulfillment team is going to go ahead, listen to everything that the sales rep has to say, and ask the sales team if there's anything that's not clarified, right? Whether it's like, oh, where are they located? What's their offer? What do they do? Again, depends on your industry. Different types of questions might be brought up. So we need to make sure that that is tracked. From there, step number 2 is confirming all the client files are made. Okay. So if you're like us, we have an entire onboarding funnel, automation that basically once someone signs the agreement, a bunch of stuff happens in the back end and we don't need to do anything, right? The Zapier automations, the back end automations will all start to do stuff. You'll start to do market research and a bunch of things like that that will help you guys and help your fulfillment team and make your life a lot easier, right? So number 1 here, let's just say automated client files. So all the client files are here and they'll have their name, right, inside this little box. From there, essentially what's happening is we come down, okay? There's automations. So we move them in our CRM, right? We move them and change everything that's associated with that specific person inside our tracking sheet. So whether they just went from a new lead to a book call to now a new client, we have to make sure that we're updating our spreadsheets and our tracking, whatever tracking you guys use. And then from there, as well, again, it just sends us a message in our Discord channel, or for you guys might be Slack, whatever you guys use, right? So we have automations for absolutely everything. That way, when someone's onboarded, it's super seamless and there's nothing that's going to ever be missed, right? From there, essentially, we'll come down is another one, is once contract is signed, like I mentioned, this is our onboarding funnel. It's all fully automated. Documents signed, creates folder, create consulting log, create ad tracking sheet, creates account information, and then API stuff. Okay. Now, again, like I mentioned, this part is very, very important. You do not want to have this missed, because if you have stuff like this missed, what's going to happen is people aren't going to be onboarded correctly. And as we know, when someone's not onboarded correctly, questions and concerns are going to arise, and you could start to get people asking for refunds. Okay. So aside from that, step number 3 is checking in on the client after day 1. So just following up super quick. Again, strong communication, not just across the team, but with the client is very, very important. You guys need to make sure that you're talking to the client. You're asking, hey, is there any questions? How was the onboarding, right? Did you get all the questions? Was there anything regarding that? Any concerns there? Just kind of over communicating. That way the client doesn't feel like they're left in the dark, right? For example, some clients, they might fill out the forms, but you might notice that their onboarding call hasn't been booked. You guys do not want to let them book their onboarding call past 2 or 3 days after you've onboarded them, you've sold them. Okay. Because the reason for that is what's going to happen is people are going to start to forget. They're going to start to get buyer's remorse. They're going to say, oh, like, I don't want this anymore, blah, blah, blah. They're getting their own head and they're not going to want to continue. You need to make sure that you're pushing them along the whole entire way. Okay. So as you can see here, what happened was our sales rep noticed, hey, they didn't book their onboarding call. So he actually added the client in the channel. He said, reminder to rebook your onboarding call with team so that we can get this started and get things rocking and rolling for you guys, right? So again, it's not just the fulfillment team, the sales rep, because you guys had to explain this, whether you're a sales rep watching this, owner of the business, doesn't matter. You need to get across to your team that just because, for example, the sales rep closed someone doesn't mean their job's done. The person who is trusted the most right now and is practically the only contact is going to be the sales rep with the client. So you need to make sure that the person who's trusted the most, which is the sales rep, is talking to these people, regardless. That is supposed to say sales. You need to make sure that they are talking to the client and keeping up with the client. That way, everything is seamless and smooth. Okay. Now, clients trying to delay, like I mentioned, they'll try to delay things. So you need to stay on top of the client and do not let them book more than 5 days. Realistically, do not let them book out more than 2 or 3 days. Okay. What happens if you do is it will result in the client losing interest or having more concerns built up, like I just mentioned. So we go on to the next step here, and step number 4. Step number 4 is your onboarding call. Once you guys have actually onboarded, you got the forms, you got everything there, and now it's time for the onboarding call. Again, you need to set expectations here, and you need to make sure that you're hyping up the client and making sure that they are excited and they feel like this is the best decision they've ever made. So now, whoever's on the fulfillment side, just how the sales rep was getting them excited, it's now your turn as the person whoever's onboarding this CSM, whoever it is, need to make sure that this is done correctly. So, onboarding call, conducting your first onboarding call. The next big milestone will be the CS taking the onboarding call with the client. Typically, again, taken in 1 to 3 days. Step number 1, okay? And there's 6 steps here, so make sure you follow along. Step number 1 is build rapport. So don't treat it like a sales call. You get very personable with them, talk to them, build a relationship, because essentially you are going to be talking to these people for the next 4, 5, 6 months, whatever your contract duration is, okay? Then from there, how to start your calls. So typically how you can start your call is like, usually I start by asking where they're based from and what's going on. Get like kind of like a 5. It's not a sales call, so you don't have to treat it like a sales call. You can build like small talk, right? It's not like it's going to build some sales resistance. You've already sold them. Now it's time to actually talk to them like they're humans, right? So on a 5-minute conversation about family, their history, how their business is going, just chat it up with them, right? Get to know them, and from there, 10 minutes max. We want to keep these calls about business for the most part, so don't let them ramble on too much, right? I like to say about 10 minutes max, you ramble on, get to know them, that sort of thing. And from there, what it's essentially doing is just building more rapport, right? You're getting to know them. They just had a good conversation with the sales rep 2 days ago. Now they're hopping on with you. They're having an even better conversation, right? Like they're like, oh, I like these guys. Like this is a smooth process. I feel welcomed. And that's what we want. We want them to feel welcomed here. From then, step number 2 is asking questions. Okay. So before we dive in, this is what you're gonna ask them. Before we dive in, was there anything specific, like anything about the questions, about what you filled out? You had anything on your end during the onboarding process so far? Like, what do you got for me? Right? Before we get into things and dive in, let's make sure that they don't have any questions with the onboarding, because they may have filled out the onboarding form and it might not have been in as much detail as possible, or they might even bring up more information that might help you guys. So make sure you ask us. And from there, step number 2.2, this is more so to get basic questions out of the way. That way the client, the client might typically have. And again, this only takes a few minutes. So make sure you get this out of the way before you move on. Step number 3. Step number 3 is a process to achieving goals. So you want to talk about things like these are things that should be these are things that should have been taken asked in the onboarding form, but you want to make sure that client repeats things, clarifies things, and continuously goes over their goals and what they're looking to do. Okay, so it's super important. Even if you've already asked it in the onboarding form, even if the sales reps already asked it, you as a fulfillment, the CS team, need to make sure that you are asking these things. That way you get clarity, because they might even, again, mention more stuff and repeat things that will help you say, okay, like this is something that they're very, very focused on, and we need to make sure that we help them there. Okay. Step number 3.2 is questions like, what's your goals in the next 3 to 6 months? What does success look like to you while working with us? If you can get one takeaway with working with us, what would it be? So you're getting clarity on exactly what their vision is, why they move forward with us. That's also really important. The sales team, again, can take information. So let's say the sales rep didn't get the information of why this person moved forward with us. The fulfillment team can ask, so let me ask, why did you choose us? What was it? What did you like about our offer? What did you like about us? What's made you want to move forward with us, right? What this will do is actually give you guys clarity. It'll help the sales reps. It'll give the sales reps clarity on like what they did good. It'll give the owner, the business, the marketing side clarity, because it'll say, okay, you guys are doing this. That's good. That's what's actually good at marketing. We need to market more of this. So there's always steps. You guys need to be communicating. Sales team and the marketing team and the fulfillment team all need to be communicating to one another and telling each other things. From there, step 3.3 is actions needed. So at the end of the call, essentially, what you're going to be doing is directing the client to the next action step. So actions needed, right? You need to make sure that after every single call, they have something to do. So a lot of these pathways involve the client watching certain trainings, course content. Other times it can be involve them booking calls with certain team members, sales, account managers, etc., right? Marketing, whatever it may be. However you guys have your offer, they're going to be booking calls, or again, watching videos, content to consume, just to get started, right? So it needs to be action step after your initial onboarding call. And we need to make sure that that is done. Okay. Now, step number 4, we scroll down here, is productize their offer. So essentially in your onboarding call, you're going to try to figure out what exactly the process is and what can you productize? What can you make super simplistic? What can you make a template for? That way it makes their life easier, right? Again, you're supposed to take authority and understand what their struggles are and how to make it easier. So productize their offer. This is something that we must cover with the client, as many other goals tie into creating a more scalable productized offer. The only way to scale is if you have something that can be repeated over and over again, right? If every single person is customized, it's going to be a complete disaster. Okay. And step number 4.2 is irresistible offer. So this, for example, you're making their irresistible offer for our service. We must help clients create a strong offer. Without it, the ads will never work, right? If you're doing home service, you need to make sure that your ads are very, very clear. The offer's there, or else they're never going to get success. And then as well, have a confident client. So this is usually where 20, 30 minutes of the call is spent, ensuring the client is fully bought in and feels confident about moving forward, right? Again, getting clarity, as I mentioned up here, and step number 3 is there's different pathways, there's different goals, there's things that you want to make sure that this is super, super clear, okay? So that is step number 4. From here, we have step number 5. Essentially, that is the next steps, expectations. So as is very, very important, you're talking about the next steps. You're talking about what they have to do, the action steps, as well, setting clear expectations. Hey, if you guys don't do this, here's what you could expect. If you guys do this, here's what you can expect, right? So step number 5 here, for us, this is primarily the VSL, the DSL. We share a screen and show clients exactly how to create it, right? There's just different things here. Like for example, after the onboarding call, say, hey, I need you guys to get started on your VSL. Like it's going to be different for all you guys. That's why I'm just saying exactly what it's kind of related to. For example, home service, it could be like, I need you guys to make sure that if you haven't already, send me all your photos, all your videos of projects, right? That needs to be done now, right? On the onboarding call. I need to make sure you invite me to all these things. Like that's the next steps, essentially. Okay. Specifics. So step number 5.2. This also includes the specific pathways developed to align with their goals and areas of focus, ensuring clear and strategic approach to achieving their objectives. Everyone's not going to be the same. For example, some niches VSLs don't work. Some niches DSLs work 10 times better, right? In some niches, you just like there's many different things. That's why I'm saying specifics. You need to make sure you're getting specific with exactly what their goals are and align the specifics with that specifically, right? A lot of specifics. So essentially from there, move on to step number 6. The final step here is, again, just like the sales call, you're going to be asking, is there any other final questions before we, kind of wrap things up and get the ball rolling here? Do you have anything else, any concerns? And it's your last point of contact to make sure that they are fully good and they're onboarded. They have no more questions. They're happy with their results, or sorry, not results. They're happy with their decision and ready to get started, right? So ask the client if there's any final questions they need answered. If not, we end the call, making sure that they know exactly what they need to get done, right? You cannot end this call unless they have the next steps as well. So again, guys, this is the onboarding. It's a team effort. It's not just the sales team onboards person and then that's that. Sales team has what they're supposed to do, right? Walk everyone through the onboarding. The fulfillment team has everything that they're supposed to do, right? The sales team has to inform the fulfillment team, and the fulfillment team has to ask questions with the sales team if there's anything that's not answered. And from there, the fulfillment team's taking a lot of stuff that the sales team gave them, and again, just talking about it, relating back to it on the onboarding call. So this is a process. This is the exact process that we use inside the mentorship as well. The exact process I use inside my own agency that I have, right? So again, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. But other than that, that is how you properly onboard someone. Now, for the people who are watching this on YouTube, again, I want to stress this enough, or I can't stress this enough, that these systems that I talk about here are the exact systems that I use, and the exact systems I use to help when I partner with certain people like marketing agencies, consultants, you name it, coaches, whatever it may be. I partner with you guys to implement these types of systems. If you want to scale a business, you need systems like this. Like when I talked about productizing your offer, I productize and templatize my entire onboarding because it needs to be the exact same every single step, every single client. That way the team knows what's going on. There's no confusion and we're all doing what we need to do. Okay. So other than that, what I'll do is if you guys are looking to scale your agency, your consulting business, or even your coaching business, you're stuck at 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and you're just looking to scale that business right now, what you need to do is click down below and book yourself a call. And again, you're going to have to apply for this. I don't work with absolutely everyone. I don't take on beginners because essentially this is a little bit too advanced for beginners. I'm looking for people who are already doing business and just looking to take it to the next level. Okay. So that aside, guys, again, the links will all be down below. Other than that, see you in the next one.